the stream. My name is Lee. At least I caught my microphone or before I did, so there's that. I had a I went to put my mic on. I went to stream, and then I realized that my mic wasn't working before I came on. Mostly, it's usually a lot of times I tend to screw up and um uh yeah, I tend to scream I tend to set up my stream and sorry, I'm stupid. Anyway, it's fine. My point is I usually set up my stream and then realize my mic's not working halfway through. As soon as someone in chat points it out, because otherwise I wouldn't think. But I thought I half a minute thought to check this, and there's that. Welcome on in. Um, I am not in a good headspace, but I'm streaming today anyway because if I don't stream, even though I'm not in a good headspace, um, yes, Cyberpunk Red. So I got into an argument about this game with a friend, and it did not go well. Anyway, I'm basically, for fuck's sake, no. The thing is, you can't get rid of it. I I don't know how to is there any way to untick that? Okay. We'll find out later and see if that's possible because it just shouldn't. It should be an extra feature, not something you. It should be an aftermarket feature. I would argue, or at least be a way to toggle it off. Um, um, anyway, I'm sure there's a way to do it. We just have to figure it out. Um, so I got into a spat with a friend, and we're changing things up, but I still have to do characters, and I still have to figure out. Let's see. So this is all the lore stuff. Um, Night market. So this is lore stuff. Okay. Um. Okay. All right. Let's start with 125. I think cyber and cyber psychosis. Okay. All right. All right. Let's start with this. I think is where we start. Um. I need to get a feel for it. Ugh, I don't. Um. 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 But keeps a player from saying, when my Deckard corners Roy races Heat Ray Vision to melt Deckar's gun, that's where rules come in. To make sure a character is played convincingly, the GM uses a set of structured guidelines, like these, to tell players what isn't possible within the confines of the world. Set guidelines on what is possible for a particular character. The GM starts out with a powerful tool of statistics. Are numbers that describe your character's abilities in the game as compared to everything else in the universe. All people and creatures can be described or written up using statistics. This helps you compare characters' abilities, which is often important in the game. For instance, a person with a stat of 5 might be better off than a person with a stat of 4, but not as good as a person with a stat of 6. Alright? Statistics are generally rated from 1 to 8, but can go higher. In a Cyberpunk Red campaign, characters will have 10 primary statistics arranged in 4 groups: mental, combat, fortune, and physical. Hi, Clock Rocket. Welcome. Welcome on in. So Cyberpunk Red. I'm planning on running a game in October, and I need to have 10 pre-gens for it. Um, 10 pre-gens with interwoven history that can then be played differently. I was trying to show my friend something with that, and we got into a completely tangential side argument about the nature of genetic engineering, and anyway. Um, yeah. So there's that. Um, And so I'm trying to figure out, I'm trying to get a feel for the system. Oh, they're going to do an ad break. They always do that in the first couple of minutes of the stream. But I'm also late starting the stream because the world is going kind of sideways right now. But I still have to stream, you know? I'm not going to let it stop me from streaming. So we're going to do that, and then we'll go from there and see how it goes. Yeah. Yeah, mental Cyberpunk Red. It's pretty cool. Um, and yeah, helps you compare characters' abilities, which is often important in the game. For instance, person with stat of 5 sticks. Rated from 1 to 8, but can go higher. In Cyberpunk Red campaigns, characters will have 10 primary statistics arranged in 4 groups: mental, combat, fortune, and physical. Int is the mental group. How bright you are. As a rule, this is more than sheer intelligence, but also includes cleverness, awareness, perception, and your ability to learn. We're gonna start the ads in a minute, but it's okay. Welcome on in, everybody. Feel free to say hi in the chat. Willpower. Your determination and ability to face danger and or stress. This stat also represents your courage and the ability to survive long-term privation. The stat is important for determining how much damage you can take. Interesting. So interesting. So how much damage you can take is based on willpower. That's an interesting approach, and I kind of like it. Cool. Your ability to impress and influence people through your character and charisma, how well you get along with others, how you interact with social situations. Empathy. Your ability to relate and care for others and take others into consideration, particularly important as it offsets the effect of cyberpsychosis, a dangerous mental illness common in the dark future. Technique. Your ability to manipulate tools or instruments. This is not the same as reflexes and has, in as much as this covers the knack of using tools. Okay. Give me a second to, I'm going to pop out for a second during the ad break. I will be back. Alright. Okay, I admit that took too long. I'm back. Hello. Sorry about that. Appreciate you being patient with me. Um, and welcome back. I should time that out better. Okay. So for combat, you get technique and reflexes. One character might have a high technique, but might not be able to fence or juggle. On the other hand, another might have high reflexes, but might not be able to rewire a computer or hotwire a car. Reflexes. Your response time and coordination, as used in aiming, throwing, juggling, etc., All stage musicians, for example, would have a high reflex stat. Most importantly, this is the stat that affects your ability to hit things with ranged weapons. That's the big one. Forging Group. How the gods would chance see you. With a high enough luck, you can tip the scales in your favor. In game mechanic sense, you can apply points from this stat to offset dice rolls in your favor. However, this pool of points only refills at the beginning of next session. So you have a couple luck points that you can use to just kind of tweak things. There are similar, different. A lot of systems have that. Not a press. I don't know about physical. They got body, size and toughness, ability to stay alive, and conscious due to physical mass, structure, and other qualities. This stat is important for determining how much damage you can take. So, it's some combination of willpower and body that gives you damage resistance. Okay. Dex, overall physical competence as it pertains to balancing, leaping, jumping, combat, and other athletic activities. A gymnast would have high dexterity. Most importantly, this is a stat that affects your ability to hit things with melee weapons and can help you dodge. Oh, okay. And we have movement, speed and movement, running, leaping, swimming, etc. Okay, so no direct strength, but body would be the closest. It's sort of like strength and con mixed in. But interesting, use dex for all physical, all weapons, and then reflex is kind of like subtle, um, 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 reflexes for kind of like finer, fine motor control, and dexterity is more for balance overall, which is interesting. Okay. How do you get your stats? Methods of stat block. Creating character, placing the stats in a block like this one. Okay. Int, ref, luck. Okay. The block remains same for all types of character generation street rat, edge runners, and complete packages. You will find a stat block similar to this one on your character sheet. Okay. 3 ways to generate stats. Using this street rat option, you'll roll d10, then copy the numbers adjacent results into that. You may not move your stats around. You must transfer them as written on the table for that roll. The good news is that these tables have been computer generated to give you optimal character for that type of roll. Okay, so template for solo. Rolled, and then copies the stats over. So basically, if you want to roll, if you're going as a street rat, what you do is you roll on the table, and table gives you an array of stats for like roughly that, a rough balance that works for that character type. Because, different, like, yeah. You're not going to have less than 5 cool if you're a rocker boy, for example. Higher will than cool for rocker boy, which is interesting choice of. You'd think cool would be the stat maxed out, but all these ones have will is higher. Rocker boy being sort of like bards. In their ability to do things and using charisma and performance to influence people around them. Welcome. But yeah. Cool's fairly high. Body's pretty low. A lot of mental physical. Then you got solo. Body's higher. Move somewhat less. Okay, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so. Okay, wait. And then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, movement is a physical group. Okay, it's at the very bottom here. Your speed of movement, running. Okay, so dex is balance, movement is separate. How fast you can go, dex is how well you can balance. Okay. You can split them. Okay. I was going to say there's one extra, but it was at the very bottom. Okay. So there you go. Dex is pretty high. Reflex is int. Decent int, actually. Empathy being kind of dumb. Alright. Interesting. Tech being mostly the dump stat. Alright. Net runners, int's pretty low for net runners, but tech is high. Interesting. You'd think int would be like your top one for net runner, but tech, int is higher. Okay, int is higher for tech. Some interesting choices. Will is pretty low for med tech, but empathy's high. Okay. Variance. It's just interesting to look at what they give you for these ones. So street rats you roll on the table. Media has a higher int. What's their low? Body is pretty low for media. Alright. Tech is weirdly low for media, actually. Interesting. Lawman, Exec, we got some good ones. Fixers. Oh yeah, Fixers have the high end. Okay. Um, Nomads, high Dex almost universally. Interesting. Um, Edge Runner, fast and dirty. When using Edge Runner option, you will once again move templates for your character's roll. 74. So you go. This time you will roll a d10 for each stat individually. So you get a d10 for each stat. Interesting. This method allows you to build the character. Oh, and complete package allows you to build the character from the ground up. Okay. Using a pool of character points. So this is point buy. To buy. Yep, point buy system. Okay. After stats. While it's the most flexible method, it's also the most time consuming and is not recommended for novice role players. Or people don't know the system well. Novice role players is one thing. I would argue that people who don't know the system shouldn't be messing with this. Because I would argue that stat augmentation is nothing, and roleplay are two completely separate parts of a tabletop RPG. And some favor more than one or the other, and some manage to integrate them. And there's levels, but creating optimal stat blocks for a character type and role playing that character well are two completely separate skill sets. You need a balance of both. And if you don't have at least a little bit of each, you're not gonna have fun with it. But I would say novice role players is not the best way to phrase that, but okay. Yeah, we'll give you a specific number of points with which to generate your character stats. Normally 6 to 2. 6 to 2 is average, and then they can give you more or less, depending on difficulty setting. That's the same way as most others. They say, you have this many points. Well, DM can arbitrarily say, no, you have extra, because I want you to have stronger characters. The only limit is that no stat may be higher than 8 or lower than 2. We strongly suggest that GMs start their players on starting character rank. We've also included a point value for both higher and lower characters based on the loose ranking system we used in previous editions of Cyberpunk 2013 and 2020. Once again, we caution GMs to stick to the starting character version unless they are positively sure they want to change play balance in their games. Yeah, okay, that's the thing, is if you don't start at the start, you have to rebalance all the encounters, which is kind of a pain in the ass, but I mean, you can. If you start your players at level 5, you have to change what encounters they hit and what they don't. Yeah, I get that. Divvying up the stat points between the stats and block. Okay. Stat block. On average, you should be able to put at least 6 points in each stat, with a couple points left over. Fine-tuning these numbers is the fun part of the complete package option. Yeah, people like min-maxing stuff. This time, Jay has 60 points with which to buy their character stats. Shay starts by splitting the points evenly between the stats blocks, but then starts to tinker to where points finally end up in the end. Jay chooses to build a tough solo who is more a physical fighter than a gunman, with more points in character's body, dex, and movable stats. Use tech as your dump stat, and empathy. Empathy as a dump stat, alright. Oh. Interesting choice, but okay. Therefore, you could also at this point warn prospective game masters about. We could also at this point warn prospective game masters about the various dodges their player will have for creating super characters. But face it, if you want to create a Mondo character, who are we to stop them? You're all big kids, and if you as a GM think your players are getting out of line, why not just go ahead and waste them? That's the Cyberpunk way. That's true. Throw something up that uses the stats that they're bad at, and yep. Give your fighters int saves. Regardless of the method you've chosen to generate original stats, you'll need to calculate 2 more values, hit points and humanity. These are your character's derived stats, called so because they are derived from the original numbers in your stat block. These are stats that are determined by you doing something to an already existing stat, like averaging, multiplying, or subtracting. Hit points are what we count to tell if your character is dead or just bleeding out on the floor. Each character in the Cyberpunk Red campaign has derived stat. This derived stat hit points represent character's will to live and overall physical condition. As character takes damage and injury from external sources, they'll subtract that damage, also described as points, from their pool of hit points. As the character's HP reaches certain thresholds, there are penalties that represent cumulative damage that makes characters physically slower or mentally hazier. That's a good one, having low hit points actually affect your character's abilities. When your character falls to 0 hit points, they enter death state, a measure of how fast they are dying. We'll go into further into wound thresholds, penalties, and death saves in combat section. You have hit points equal to 10 plus 5 body and will average, rounding up. But since the math involved here can be real pain sometimes, we've made you a table to use instead. Refer to the table below to see how many hit points your character has. Yeah. Character seriously wounded threshold is half their total HP. Death saves is equal to the body statistic, so that's death saves linked to body. Okay. So will and body. 2 is 20, because it's 2 times 5 is... Body and will average, rounding up. Okay, so if body and will 2 averaged out is 2, 5 times 2 is 10, plus 10 is 20. Okay. Yeah, math checks out. Okay. Body is 15. Wow, okay. I mean, your body doesn't start as more than 8. Okay, 6 or 8. Okay. So high body and low will. Okay. 35. Hang on. If this is 35, then this should also be 35. Yeah, it works out. Okay. Humanity is a measure of how well you interact. So then it gives you hit points. Alright, so you're getting somewhere between 20 and... okay. 20 and 50, essentially. Yeah, because if you have 8 in both, you get 50. Yeah, 20 and 50. So somewhere between 20 and 50 to start out. If you get higher in body over the course of the game, then you would probably... That's probably like... You can add a couple body if you get more cyber... Probably with cyberware, I would guess, is where you get the extra body from. Like if you put in cyber things, you get extra body, and that'll give you more hit points. Okay. Humanity is a measure of how you interact with the world and other people in it. People with a low humanity stat have problems with human interactions. They may become sociopathic, withdrawn, dissociated, even homicidal. If your character's humanity drops below 0, that prevents death of your character's emotional life. They slide into a state called cyberpsychosis, which is apparent. Traits like homicidal mania or mental dissociation can occur, while the additional large amounts of cyberware, more on this later, page 23, most often trigger this state. Other traumatic situations can also push the character over the edge. For every point of empathy the character has, they gain 10 points of humanity. For example, character starts with 5 empathy with 50 humanity. Once again, here's the handy table. Okay, so the empathy gives you times 10. So if you have a low empathy character, like this solo example, you'd only have 40 humanity, which... Alright. As a character undergoes humanity loss, mainly but not always, through installing cybernetics, they lose points of humanity. When you lose humanity points, you will sometimes have to lower your empathy statistic. This happens every time 10 places your humanity value is lowered. For example, a character with 44 humanity has an empathy of 4 until their humanity is lowered to 39, at which point their empathy is lowered to 3. For raising humanity, go to with therapy. Oh, if you go to therapy, you can get your empathy back. That's pretty actually solid. Plug these values into humanity, hit points, and seriously wounded and death save boxes on your character sheet, and we're ready to hit the next page, skills. No matter what your method you have used to generate your character stats, so far the next step of your character creation will be able to find out what they can and can't do, or what they can do, and that means skills. Skills are things your character knows or can do. They represent their levels of knowledge and accomplishment. See, my reasoning for going this way. Very different set of skills. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not paying too much attention to chat. I appreciate you being there. I should probably try to pay more attention. I tend to get suckered into the explanations and such. But yes, here, if I move this over just a smidge, there. Now I can see chat, so if someone says something, I can't read exactly what you say, but I can see if someone says something in chat, which then I can then go back and read it. These skills are things your character knows you can do, knows how to do because of their training. They have spent time learning and mastering intricacies, knowledge either from a teacher, a book, or a long and arduous montage sequence typically found in action and kung fu movies. Typical level still represents how well trained your character is at that activity. Skills linked to stats. Yes, we know that. In turn, each skill is also linked to a stat that represents natural ability. Some people are just naturally better at doing learning things than other people around them, so when you perform a skill check, more on that later, page 128. Alright, this is, because that's the guts of how you... Like, how to create a character is important, but how the character's stats work is a guts of having to run it. And that's what I need to know I need to start with knowing that, and then create the characters for my players, and then I need to tend to give people a full suite of options. Maybe I'll leave out maybe I'll leave out some of them. Maybe I'll leave out Lawman. And that might be an interesting thought. Okay. Link to a particular skill, get a total aptitude at performing an action based on performing that skill, also known as a skill base. Add the stat that is linked to a particular skill to get a total of skill base. Though some skills are harder to learn than others, more teaching, bigger books to read, more arduous training montages, and this is reflected in the cost to buy these skills. We'll make a note if a skill has higher cost in its description in the skill list below, making it with ×2. Any skill marked this way costs twice the number of points to buy, 2 points per one level. In Cyberpunk Red campaigns, there are 9 skill categories. Awareness skills. Well, actually, it makes sense. You pretty much every if you have various stats, if each skill has that makes sense. If there are 9 skill categories, awareness skills, awareness environment, body skills, the skills involving physical tasks such as feats of strength, endurance, and other physical attributes. Awareness skills, noticing clues, awareness environment, perception, stuff like that. Control skills, the use of skills involving controlling vehicles or riding animals. Education skills, knowledge and training based on formal education, schooling. Fighting skills, the ability to fight in hand-to-hand combat or with a melee weapon. Performance skills, training in acting, musicianship, special effects, makeup, and other stage crafts, which is imperative for Rocker Boy, but useful for our media, but useful for other people too, I would imagine. Performance skills is training in acting, yes. Ranged weapon skills is training ranged weapon, such as gun or bow. Social skills, your ability to blend in, avoid social blenders, and show style and grace. Also, your ability to convince others through social aptness. Technique skills, trained vocational skills, and craftsmanship abilities. I started out making false cities for edge runners and street rats. 4 years later, I'm making bioweapons for the highest bidder. Just goes to show that it's never too late to pick up a hobby. That's Hornet. Alright, so awareness skills. So we have a whole list of skills. Concentration. Skill of focus and mental control, encompassing feats of memory, recall, ignoring distractions, and physiological mastery. Conceal, reveal objects. Skill for finding objects and finding objects that have been hidden. This skill is used for concealing weapons under clothing and detecting concealed weapons. How to make things look like you're not packing something. Lip reading. Skill of reading someone's lips to tell what they are saying. Perception. Skill of spotting hidden things like clues, traps, and people using the stealth skills, but not objects hidden with the conceal, reveal object skill. Perception is for things people hide. Okay. Tracking. Skill of following a trail by observing tracks and other clues left behind. Big one. Body skills. Athletics. Running, jumping, climbing, throwing, swimming, lifting weights, etc. Contortionist. Skill of manipulating your body to get out of handcuffs and other bindings and to fit yourself into otherwise inaccessible places and spaces. Dance. Skill of dancing on a professional level. Okay. Endurance. Skills of withstanding harsh environmental conditions and hardships. Resist torture, drugs. Skill of resisting painful effects of interrogation and torture and drugs. Okay. Resisting interrogation methods. Stealth. Moving quietly, hiding, doing action discreetly, or otherwise avoiding detection. The other characters can try to find you with perception skills. Alright, stealth and perception are interesting. Drive land vehicles. A skill of driving and maneuvering land vehicles. Pilot air vehicles. This one's 2. Skill of piloting maneuver air vehicles. So, it takes twice as much to learn how to pilot a plane as it is to drive a car. Okay. Pilot sea vehicles. Boats. I imagine that also includes rivers and lakes, too. Boat skills are boat skills. It's just, riding. Skill of riding a living creature trained for the purpose. Horses, horses are the big ones, but I'm sure they, bulls, other creatures, it's just, horses are probably the big ones. Skill in balancing books, creating false books and identifying them, juggling numbers, creating budgets, and handling day-to-day business operations. How to do spreadsheets. Excel 101, and how to math out budgets. Animal handling. Skills of handling, training, and caring for animals. Bureaucracy. Skill for dealing with bureaucrats, knowing who to talk to in bureaucracy, know how to teach, how to reach them, how to extract information from bureaucrats. Yep, how to fill the right forms, how to make, who you need to call in the office, and how do you get them to ignore them, how do you manipulate them, how do you, what do you say, what are your rights legally, and how can you bullshit and you have more than you do, stuff like that. Business skill regarding knowledge of basic business practices, laws of supply and demand, employee management, procurement, sales, marketing, that sort of thing. Composition skill of professionally writing songs, articles, and stories. Songwriting as a skill. Criminology skill for looking for clues by dusting fingerprints, doing ballistic tests, examining evidence, and searching through police records and files. Cryptography, which is skills of encrypting and decoding messages. Deduction, skills of taking several clues and leaping to non-obvious conclusions, and medical diagnosis. Education, skills of general logic, equivalent to a basic school education, allowing you to know how to read, write, use basic math, and know enough history to get by. Gamble, skill of knowing how to figure ads and play games of chance successfully. That's card counting, stuff like card counting and who rigs the slot machines. And yeah, it's basically calculating the odds and figuring out like dice for craps or that. Okay, well, what are the odds of each roll, and how do you bet them successfully, and how to work them? There's a lot of chance involved, but having a high gamble skill would help. Language, skill of speaking a particular language. You must choose a specific language whenever you increase the skill. Library search, skill of using databases, data pools, libraries, and other complicated information sources to find facts. Yeah, it's how to do card catalog, how to go through the second half of Google, how to phrase your search terms, stuff like that. Library, this is specifically to knowing the Dewey Decimal System and where things might be cross-referenced. Local expert, skill of knowing a specific area well and knowing the agendas of its various factions, both political and criminal. You must choose a specific location whenever you increase this skill, which cannot be any larger than a single neighborhood or community. Science, skill of knowing how to design experiments, write scientific papers, test hypotheses, discuss with other academics a particular field of science. An area of study must be specified whenever this skill is increased. Possible options include geology, mathematics, physics, zoology, anthropology, biology, chemistry, history, etc. So science, history would be like a whole detailed study of, would be a very specific time period and what might be there. Tactics, skill of managing large-scale battle effectively and efficiently. Character with this skill usually knows what must be done to direct a battle and how enemy forces may react. Wilderness survival, skills for knowing how to survive comfortably in the wilderness. Fighting, brawling, skill at fighting, grappling with brute strength. Evasion, skill for getting out of the way of someone attacking you in melee. Characters with reflex of 8 or higher can also use this skill to dodge range attacks. Interesting. Martial arts, times 2. Skill for fighting with a martial art form. Each time you increase the skill, you must choose which form you are training. You can learn multiple forms, but you must do so separately. Possible options: karate, taekwondo, judo, aikido can be found. Oh, they have a list of various martial arts skills. Okay. Melee weapons. Skill for fighting with melee weapons. Acting, performance skills. Okay. Acting. Skill of assuming a role, disguising yourself as someone else, whether real or fictional, and faking emotions and moods. Play instrument. Skill of professionally playing an instrument. You can choose which instrument when you increase the skill. Possible options include singing, guitar, drums, violin, piano, etc. Okay. Ranged weapons. Archery. Bolt or arrow launching projectile weapons. Auto fire. Keeping a weapon's auto fire mode on target through recoil. Alright. Being accurate when you're full auto. Okay. Handgun. Skills for accurately firing a handheld projectile weapon such as pistols. Heavy weapons. Large projectile weapons including grenade and rocket launchers. Shoulder arm. Skills for accurately firing shoulder-braced projectile weapons including rifles and shotguns. Bribery. I think if you're firing like an AK-47 or something on single shot mode, it would be a shoulder arm. But if you're, auto is just if you can handle the recoil, if you can accurately and not just spray and pray do full auto. Social skills is bribery. Skill of knowing when to bribe someone, how to approach them, and how much to offer. Conversation. Skills of extracting information from people without alerting them with careful conversation. Human perception. Reading people's facial expressions and body language to discern their emotional state and detect lies or deception. Interrogation. Skills of forcibly extracting information from people. Persuasion. Skills of convincing, persuading, or influencing individuals. Personal grooming. Skill of knowing proper grooming to maximize attractiveness. How to do your hair. How to do makeup. That's actually is a skill set. That's the thing. Doing your makeup well is a skill set. How to get your hair to sit just right with a little bit of product and careful brushing. That is a skill set. Now, I don't know what the skill set, how useful that skill set is. Depends on time and place and how much you're expected to have. But yes, doing your makeup is entirely a skill set. And people will notice if you're bad at it. Um, yes, doing makeup is a skill set. I will admit. I am not. I have like a. I would have like a 3 or 4 points in, like, I can do a decent amount of makeup and make my hair look okay, but for sure, yeah. When they say personal grooming, that's what they mean. It's streetwise. Skill of making and using contacts to get illegal goods and contraband, talking to criminal elements, and avoiding bad situations in bad neighborhoods. Trading. Skills of striking a good bargain with a merchant or customer. Um, Wardrobe and style. Skills of knowing what clothes to wear and when to wear them. How to mix and match. You know, brown shoes go with, brown shoes. You match your shoes in your belt, like stuff. Knowing stuff like that. How to tie a tie. Um, how to get stuff, without a bra. How do you get, remembering to put how do you negotiate without a bra? How do you effectively get the Spanx to stay? Like, there are sets of knowledge on that. Air vehicle tech. Repairing or maintaining air vehicles. Basic tech. Identifying, understanding, and repairing simple electronic and mechanical devices and other items not covered by other technique skill. Cyber tech. Skills of identifying, understanding, and repairing cybernetics. Demolition. Skill of setting and diffusing explosives and knowing how much explosive will accomplish a desired result. Electronic and security tech. Skills of identifying, understanding, repairing, countering, and installing complex electronic devices, including computers, cybernetics, personal electronics, electronic security systems, bugs and tracers, pressure plates, laser tripwires, etc. First aid is a tech skill. Interesting. Skill of applying medical treatments to wounded persons to treat the most common critical injuries and keep them from dying. Forgery. Skills of creating and detecting false documents and identification. Land vehicle tech. Repairing and maintaining land vehicles. Paint, draw, sculpt. Skill of producing professional paintings, drawings, and sculpture. So that's under technique skill, whereas the performance arts are under performance skill. See, play instrument is under tech, and so is painting, drawing, and sculpting. Interesting choice, but okay. Paramedics, because usually performance skills in like 5e are under charisma, which for a performance, like as a guitarist, yes, there are two. If you're up on stage performing with the instrument, there are two aspects to the performance. There is engaging the audience, and fumbling your way through matching the singer. Especially if you're accompanying someone else who's singing, matching them and doing the little flourishes, kind of engaging with the audience, is a social aspect. And then there's the aspect of technical skill of getting the chords and fingering right. There are two different setups, and and photography, film, let's see, photographs, videos, and brain dances, which are cool and unique to this. Pick lock, skill for bypassing non-electronic locks. Pickpocket, skill for stealthily retrieving items scared in another person and shoplifting small items without being noticed. Sea vehicle tech, repairing boats. Weapons tech, skills for repairing and maintaining weapons of all types. How do I get my skills? Skills are normally rated from 1 to 10 and are used in gameplay by adding levels of the skill to the level of the most applicable statistic. Skills are like stats, they have a range of effectiveness that is related to how much they cost. Basic skills are things generally common to everyone in all cultures in the time of the Red: athletics, brawling, concentration, conversation, education, evasion, first aid, human perception, language, street slang, local expert, your home, perception, persuasion, and stealth. These are assumed to be part of everyone's skill list and must start with a value of at least 2. Additionally, all characters begin with 4 points in their language related to their cultural background and established on Life Path, page 45. So you get 2 in whatever the kind of street slang people speak, and then you get 4 points in whatever your native language is. Street rat template skills. Skills are predetermined from the start with the street rats. Also, as a street rat character, we have already provided you with skills and levels of skills for basic skills. Bold, plus the basic professional skills you need to perform your character's chosen role. Just find the role on the tables below and copy the numbers next to each skill to the proper place on your character sheet. Don't forget the 4th level. 4 levels of language get based on cultural organs, and don't forget the 4 extra. So if you want to take a street rat like basic one, you just snag all of these and call it even. Playing solo. So yeah, they have this example of Jay. Hey, Jay's doing a solo, and if Jay were doing a solo, this is how they would do it. Their street rat starts with the following skills at these levels. They also get another language, 4 based on their cultural origin. So they would use this Rocket Boy solo, and then they have Rocket Boy solo. Yeah, and then, okay. Immediate Lawman, so the 10. Yeah, you get these ones. Okay. Example. Yep, okay. So, Edge Runner, Fast and Dirty skills. Like the Street Rat, Edge Runner skills are predetermined from the start, but the big difference is that although your skills do not roll up predetermined, the levels of each skill are up to you. I'm probably going to use Edge Runner to create these pre-gens, just because I want to have a little bit of flexibility with them. But, yeah. Edge Runners get 86 skill points, but distributed between your character skills to raise their up. These points may not be applied anywhere else. No skill can be higher than 6 or lower than 2. Following skills must be at least 2. Athletics, brawling, concentration, conversation, education, evasion, first aid, human perception, language, local expert, persuasion, intuition, stealth. Times 2 costs 2 times skill points to increase level by 1. All those skills cost the same ones because they have the same ones marked on the full list. Don't forget the 4 levels of language. You get free based on the cultural origin, so that's not part of the 86. Determine your edge runner skills. Just find your role in the tables below, then divide your 86 skill points up between the skills listed for that type. Remember that no skill can be higher than 6 or lower than 2. Hot tip. You'll notice that each role has 20 skills allotted to it. Start by dividing your 86 points by 20 to get a rough average of 4 points per skill, and then have 6 left over. And then, yeah, so that's... Jay decides to work on Edge Runner solo. Following skills: athletics, brawling, concentration, conversation, education, evasion, first aid, human perception, language, street slang, local expert, home, perception, persuasion, stealth, auto fire, handgun, interrogation, melee weapon, resist, torture drugs, shoulder arms, and tactics. So yeah, that's basically the basic list for everyone, and then a few extra, the fighty ones for the solo-ness. 4 slots going into each of these, then the remaining 6 as they fit. Now Jay is start shifting points between skills, until the results look like so. Alright. Level athletics, brawling, high and brawling, concentration, conversation, 2 each. Education, evasion, first aid, don't think, language, and cost is 0. Home expert, perception, persuasion. Yeah, I don't think he has any of the doubled ones, interestingly. Complete package, calculated skills. Unlike the other types of characters, complete package characters get almost complete control over their skills. Like Edge Runners, these characters get 86 skill points to raise up any skills they want. But unlike Edge Runners, except for basic skills that all character types must have, complete package players can put the rest of their 86 points into any skill they want. In complete package method, 4 things should be kept in mind. No skill can be higher than 6. The following skills must be 2. Athletics, brawling, concentration, conversation, education, evasion, first aid, human perception, language, local expert, perception, persuasion, stealth. Alright. Skills marked with a master skill list with times 2 cost 2 skill points. Don't forget the 4 levels of language. You get free. I don't know if that ever comes into play, but Jay decides to build a solo, but this time is a complete package character. The solo must have the following skills. That's the basic ones. Chooses most of these at the bare minimum. Not exactly best idea. However, Jay also decides to make their solo more esoteric character and spends time hunting down renegade nomads in the wilderness. So, the remaining 60 of their skill points are spent on the following. So they get stuff like auto fire. Alright. Interesting. Hang on. Oh, yeah. Okay, they did have auto fire as 2 points before. Okay. So they did have one that was that. Alright. And end up with martial arts as well. Interrogation, melee weapons, resist torture drugs, shoulder arms. Okay. Tactics, tracking. They decided tracking and wilderness survival as well. Alright. Added tracking and wilderness survival. And martial arts to the mix. Alright. You don't have to have any cyberware to be cyberpunk, but you do need weapons and armor. In the dark future of the time of the red... Alright, I'm keeping an eye on the time. There aren't many convenient cops around to cover your butt when things get sticky. Things that go bang, drop, chop, slice, slice. Okay. Weapons are part of everyday life in the time of the red, with only a few cops on the street and lots of heavily armed and armored miscreants roaming around, just itching to reduce you disassemblable parts. It's no wonder that everyone you meet is probably packing. The trick is to make sure you're carrying more than they are, and that you know enough about how to use it so they don't take it away from you. weapon categories. There's 3 categories of weapons: melee, swords, axes, clubs, hammers, etc. Range weapons, things that are fired or shot. Okay, there's another ad break. Good to know. All right. Sorry if I'm babbling. Bleh. I am probably gonna get up and do a stretch break and then come back to weapons. I know the ad breaks. Timing the ad breaks doesn't make a lot of sense, but it is helpful. And maybe a little coffee. More coffee, anyway. Yes. I think we can do a break. I'm going to take a minute, and I encourage you to do the same. If you're subbed, if you're not subbed, you're going to get an ad. If not, you'll get a picture of Addie. She's a cutie pie. But you won't miss anything either way. And, yeah. What the heck is... It's causing... Oh, that's my... Oh. Went through the wash with a crayon in it. Okay. Next to suck, I guess. Alright. Ad starting soon. Alright. Okay, melee, ranged, exotic. Alright. And then melee, and they have a set section on each. This is good to know as a DM who's planning on running this game. And I appreciate you kind of hanging out with me and encouraging me to do it, even if you're not, directly encouraging. It's helpful to have people in your around when you have an audience, even if they don't say anything. Like, sharing about something is a good way of encouraging people to do it. But yeah, that's the other thing about ads is that they say, "Oh, starting soon," and then they don't start. I have peanut butter pretzels too, which is helpful. But yes. Um. I Beautiful. Do it. There's Addie. Alright. Wow. Okay. Hi, everyone. Sorry about that. Things went a little bit sideways. Fixed it. Still came back in relatively decent amount of time. I think. Ow, my hand is fucked up. It's okay. Um. Welcome back. I'm glad you're here, hanging out with me. Okay. So at least in this setup, I don't have to toggle between what you can see and what I can see, because that would be a little bit of a pain. Okay. But yeah, we have weapons. Melees, ranged, fire, shot, or thrown, and exotic weapons. Specialized or don't fit in the above categories. Many weapons can either be traditional, something you can hold in, put down, or implanted in your body as cyberware. Known on the street as cyber weapons, implanted weapons are usually a variant of ranged or melee weapons. Some oddities, like the infamous Cyber Snake, are, on the whole, only loosely classified as melee weapons, if at all. These have their own specialized uses, so we'll be taking more about those in the cyberware chapter. Note that these are only the most basic, almost generic classes of each weapon. Specific models and brands down at page 350. Okay. These melee weapons are things that you swing or stab at someone, hoping to make them bloody or remove their limbs. Swords, axes, and clubs and hammers. The whole contents of hardware aisle in your local night market. If you use your hands to deliver the damage with it, it's a melee weapon. None of them are generally linked to the dex stat. Okay, so you got the melee weapon type example. Number of hands required. In cases of melee weapons, the number of hands required based on what your weapon is and not its classification. So, something's two-handed or one-handed. I don't know if there are any three-handed ones. If people generally add cyber tech, I suppose you could hypothetically have a three-handed weapon. But two-handed seems to be the way to go. Damage for a single action weapon. Rate of fire, how many times weapon can be swung in a single attack action. Interesting, so they put rate of fire on individual weapons rather than in something like D&D where the rate of fire for melee weapons is how many attacks per turn usually is. Depends on your level. Can it be concealed? Can you kind of conceal it? Cost. How many yearbooks are you expecting to pay for it? Press category. Alright, buying selling on page 385. Melee weapon type. There's light melee weapons. Like combo knife or tomahawk. Number of hands varies by type. To the D6. Alright. Rate of fire is 2. Concealable. Roughly 50 Eurobucks. Medium is something like a baseball bat, crowbar, or machete. Number of hands varies by type. It's 2d6. 2 rate of fire cannot be concealed. Roughly 50 Eurobucks. So something that's 50 Eurobucks, a little bigger, a little more damage, but also not concealable. Heavy is a lead pipe, sword, or spiked bat. Yeah, this is the good stuff. Number of hands still varies by type. It's just 3d6. Still 2. And cannot be concealed. You're paying 100 Eurobucks, something like that. Very heavy is... What are these? Hang on, I need to... Chainsaw, sledgehammers, helicopter blades. Maginata, I don't know what that is, but it sounds dangerous. 46 damage, anyway. You can only do once if you got something real big, and definitely can't be concealed, but you're paying premium, 500... expensive, rather. Premium is 100 Eurobucks. You're paying 500 Eurobucks a pop, average. If you're to buy one on the night market. Note that these example melee weapons are just used to give you an idea of where things fit. Humans have been picking up rocks since the dawn of time, and there are probably a billion types of sharp, pointy things out there. We suggest if you don't really know where the bronze Egyptian Khopesh you just took off the body of that Euro solo fits in, ask your game master to make a call. We'd say heavy melee weapon ourselves, so Khopesh. Oh, Khopesh. I think it's more of a H sound if it's KH. That's how, I've heard it pronounced Khopesh, but I know that in anglicizing Arabic words, the KH with the h sound that we don't have in English. Um, alright. This is just an example gun. Alright. Ranged. Alright. These are things that shoot. Guns, lasers, very rare. Gyrojets, rarer still. And even little hand crossbows, those idiots in the road warrior gangs like to wave around. If something comes out of it, traverses the distance and causes damage at the end of the trajectory, it's a ranged weapon. Ranged weapons are generally linked to the reflex stat. When buying ranged weapons, it's important to keep in mind that all weapons are effective at different ranges. The assault rifle is great for long-range shots and mid-fire range, but it can be unwieldy in tight quarters and close quarters gunfight. You probably want to carry a pistol as well, just in case somebody gets a drop on you. Range table in 173. And then you got how to read the table, skill, single shot damage, standard magazine, how many bullets or other type of ammo can be held in the weapon without mods, below magazine size, you can find the type of ammunition, the weapon's fire, rate of fire, number of hand required, can it be concealed? If the weapon can be concealed with the conceal, things like pistols, you can keep a. Fire modes are special features, unique traits on the weapons. See the full selection on page 173. Cost. What's your average price going for? Okay. I still don't think you could make there's any very heavy melee weapon you could really wield one-handed, but alright. I was just thinking of that. Alright. Medium pistol. Handgun skill. So 12, you're getting about 12 magazine, 2d6 damage, 2 shots per one hand, can be concealed. And you got a heavy pistol, to do 3d6, there's usually only 8 shots in it. Rate of fire is 2, hands required 1, yes, and you're looking to pay twice as much, 100 Eurobucks, roughly. Very heavy pistol. Handgun, it's got 46. It's 1 rate of fire, and you usually get 8, but there's only 1 rate of fire for the real good stuff, but it's 4, so you get an extra d6 of damage, but your shots last longer, because, oh, that's okay, no worries. You can come and go as you please. You're not obligated to stay the whole time. I appreciate you hanging around, but hopefully you got to talk, getting to talk to your friends is always fun, so don't worry about it. Welcome back, though. We're going over weapons. And such. There's melee and ranged. And basically, with the chart, there's kind of, the weapons fall into broad categories. So any specific weapon you get is going to fall into one of these broad categories. What they said with the melee is, humans have been inventing pointy things to stab themselves with, or stab each other with, for hundreds of thousands of years. So, if you there's probably dozens of, you might find. Oh, hi, Beth! Welcome on in! We're doing, Cyberpunk Red, which is a RP system. I'm pretty sure I remember the skills are D10 based, but they don't actually say. And weapon damage is D6s, so it's 2 dice type. It's a TTRPG set in the time of the Red. There's a lot of lore, but I'm kind of ignoring the lore for now, just to go over the nitty gritties of how to run it, just so I can get, because I'm planning on running a game at a con in October for this, so I kind of have to figure it out. I figure, hey, I'll hang with everyone and do a stream on it. Help me figure it out and share it with the rest of you. I do that a lot for my streams. Is here's this tabletop RPG. Normally, I kind of just I go in order, but range. Alright, it's got pistols, medium pistols, heavy pistols, very heavy. These are one-handed. SMG, which is also a handgun. Does 2d6. Okay, but this is something with a decent magazine size. Can be concealed. A very heavy pistol can't be. Something like this can be. Still, rate of fire is only 1. Still one-handed. But we got a bigger magazine, and it can be concealed. Oh, yes. One shot. Rate of fire is 1 shot per turn versus 2. And this is 100 Eurobucks, so very heavy. Roughly. I mean, I guess different models with different mods will cost you different things, I would presume, but this is just kind of like a ranking of, okay, these things cost more and these things cost less. It's just about how much you can expect to pay. Then you got a heavy SMG, which is also under handgun skill. 3d6, so 40. So it's got higher damage, higher, bigger magazine. Still the same rate of fire, still just one-handed, but it cannot be concealed. So that's your trade-off on this one. About the same price. Then you got a shotgun, which is shoulder arm. 5d6. Okay. You get, as a starting character, between 20 and 50 hit points. So, 5d6 of damage against, I mean, even against 50 hit points, 5d6 is nothing to sneeze at. And against 20, that might be enough to take you out. Maybe it was 20 and 70, but even still. Yeah, because 8 times 5 is 40, plus 10 is 50. No, 50. 20 and 50. There's a lot of math involved on hit points, but yeah. Yeah, but it's between 20 and 50, and you... Yeah, 5d6 is nothing to sneeze at, and that's 1 shotgun shell. It's 4, so 1 rate of fire, 2-handed, and cannot be concealed. And you're paying 50, 500 Eurobucks for a 2-handed thing, but 5d6 of damage is a lot. But then a very heavy one has a higher magazine, is one-handed, and does 4d6, so that might be a better option. Well, yeah, you're getting into what you want to do. Assault rifle, shoulder arm, also 5d6, but you get a higher magazine size. It's about the same price-wise, roughly, and still can't be concealed, still two-handed. So it's 5.6. I guess I'm just doing auto comparisons. It's not necessarily important. Shoot, I got to keep an eye on the time too. But then you got sniper, which is still Man of Things. 4 shotguns take slugs. I see. Oh, see. This has what kind of ammo you need for it. 25 thing, and your 2 hands required. It's expensive. But same price as a shotgun, same price bracket as a shotgun or an assault rifle. But it's the range that's the thing for sniper rifles, if I recall correctly. Then you got bows and crossbows, archery. 46. Dang, okay, a crossbow bolt. It's just 46 as well. That's pretty good. More than the pistol. Yeah, arrows. Okay, standard magazine, none. But it's an arrow. 1 rate of fire, 2 hands. Can't be concealed. Grenade launcher, 66. Okay. You get 2 grenades in it. 1 rate of fire, 2 hands required. Expensive. Oh, these ones. Premium 100 Eurobucks. Huh. They do it opposite this one. So this one they put 100 Eurobucks and premium underneath, which kind of is a rough category of about 100. And this one they did it opposite, where they put the name at the top and then the exact number in the bottom with parentheses. And grenade launchers and rocket launchers are in the expensive category with shotgun and assault rifles, and they pack a lot of damage. Rocket launchers, a lot. Oh, and you got explosives and stuff. Arrows is and alt fire modes and special features. Arrows, if you got bows and crossbows. Then you got explosives for grenades and rocket launchers. Alright. Basic ammunition is 10 Eurobucks per 10 units. Standard ammunition for the weapons. It has no special features. Comes in bullet, pistol, slug, rifle, shotgun shells, arrows, grenades, rockets do not come in the basic and must be bought in the night market section based on their type. Okay. But so grenades and rockets you can't do much with. But arrows and bullets you can just buy Eurobuck a pop. And Eurobuck's kind of like the main currency. Because of, it's kind of like a euro, it's actually euro. Eurobuck is just a kind of the same as Euros. They just have an alternate history where during the Cold War, Europe developed space tech during the Cold War, and so kind of took over and didn't have the U.S. the kind of U.S. Russia. They didn't have NATO. They had the EU before we had our EU in our timeline. Um, kind of set up. Um, so Eurobucks are the general currency, but Red City's on the, which is the main setting, is on the west coast of the U.S. though. Actually, some interesting lore here. Okay, exotic weapons are weapons that overly specialized or too unique to be easily described. Typically variants, average weapon quality, and are incompatible with all weapon attachments and non-basic ammunition unless otherwise stated. The table offers a brief glimpse of exotic weapons. For a full description and rules for each, you go to page 347. How to read the table. Name. Generic name, there are a lot of brands to choose from. Description and data. Specific to the weapon are listed here. In most cases, the exotic weapons will refer to non-exotic weapon listed in the range for melee table. With the exception of anything noted here, the weapon functions the same as its non-exotic counterpart. Cost. Eurobuck. Price category. The item is listed below. See buying and selling. Notes GM. During character generation, a player is able to buy anything they have the funds to purchase, but they are not allowed to pool their starting money together. We recommend that you do not give your players additional starting funds. Allowing players to access luxury or higher price category items at character generation could break your game. But if you want to attend your own funeral, we've included them in the chart below. In gameplay, exotic weapons are rare and expensive. They're difficult to find in night markets without a friendly fixer, and carrying one can really make a statement. If you walk into a Totentans with a Constitution arm hurricane assault weapon slung over your shoulder, people will take notice, for better or worse. Air pistol, fires paint and acid balls. Interesting. It's only $100. Okay, you got battle glove. Heavy gauntlet combines 3. Let's try to see. Cyberpunk and Cyber Limb option slots. Constitution arms heavy hurricane assault weapon. Shotgun with it's a double rate of fire. Requires body 11 to fire. Okay, so it's a shotgun with that lets you go twice as. Okay, that's a thing. And I got dart guns. Pre-rolls. Flamethrower. Okay, non-basic arrows. Heavy pistol. Flamethrower shotgun that fires incendiary shells with heavy weapon skills. That's only €500. You could. That's cheap enough. Kendachi Mono 3. It's two-handed, very heavy melee weapon. Ignores armor. Ooh. It's two-handed. It's a melee weapon that ignores armor. Dang, okay. No one, SP11. Middle lane arms 3, 5, and 6. Excellent quality, very heavy pistol, famously wielded by Johnny Silverhand, and does D5 damage. It's okay, so it's very heavy, so you can do it one-handed, but it's D5 on a one-handed weapon. That's 10th. Oh yeah, okay, super luxury. Microwaver, very pistol that can shut down cyberware and carried electronics. So it's basically an EMP gun. That's pretty cool. €100. It's not even that expensive. Or 500. It's in the same category as getting like a shotgun. Military tech Cowboy U-56 grenade launcher. Grenade launch, double rate of fire grenade launcher, and you need body 11, and or more to fire it. And 8 is the highest you can get basic at character creation. I believe to get up to 11, you would need cyber enhancement, which is the reason Cyberpunk is called Cyberpunk, is because there's a lot of that. Rementhal EMG 86, a railgun. Assault rifle that ignores armor. Okay. No, 11. Fired with heavy weapon skill, requires body 11. 5,000, so luxury. Shrieker. I have a pistol that causes damaged ear critical injury. Okay, so it's a sound-based. Stun bolt gun. Stun baton. Less lethal, medium melee weapon. It's only €100, so bro, same price you're gonna pay anyway. Stun gun is a less lethal heavy pistol. And then you got the Tsunami Arms Helix. assault rifle that only fires in automatic mode, with higher auto fire multiplier than standard assault rifle, and requires body 11. So this is a okay. Then you got attachments, and then armor. Okay. Special ammunition. All non-exotic range weapons can be loaded with non-basic types of ammunition such as incendiary shells, poison arrows, armor-piercing bullets, and so forth. Specialized, you can look on 344. Then weapon attachments can be upgraded with attachments. Combine multiple attachments to take up the same physical location, but you must pay the slot cost for both attachments independently. Equipping the same attachment twice does nothing. Attachments for specific weapon types and cannot be easily retrofitted for other weapons types. I mean, if you have attack, you could probably do it with a skill check. Specialized types of attachments are available in Night Market. Armor. And then you got armor. I'm probably going to have to go at some point, but why don't we go through armor a little bit? And then I probably will have to leave you all, because I need to get to day job, unfortunately. Armor must be purchased individually for either head or body locations. Wearing even a single piece of heavy armor will lower your reflex, dex, and move by the most punishing armor penalty of the armor you are wearing. You can take this penalty only once, even though you are likely wearing armor on both your body and head. This penalty can even leave your character at a minimum move of 0, completely immobile. If you don't have a high movement rate and you're wearing heavy armor, you may or may not actually be able to move at all. SP, which is, I guess, the how you measure armor location in this. Gain armor does not stack. Only your highest source of XP in the location determines your XP for that location. All your worn armor is location ablated. Simultaneously whenever you take damage. The SP is lowered by 1 if you take damage. When armor doesn't cut it. Okay. Which means, so the SP goes down when you take damage, and only, okay, determines, alright. How to read armor type. Wait, then I call it, a lot of advantage, generic title. Description, what it looks like, wears like, if the armor has effects or special notes, this is where it listed. Stopping power, that's what the SP stands for. How many points of damage from an attack can the armor stop before it reaches your body? And then we have the penalty, is how much the armor interfere with your ability to move and respond while wearing it. Cost. The armor cost, they have the price brackets of, like, it's, well, 50 Euro-bucks, which is fairly cheap, and then you got 100, which is a little more expensive, and you got the 500, they're in brackets, and I guess the exact model will vary, according to what kind of deal you can get with your fixer or whatever. Cost, yeah, usually they have the, like, okay, 20 Euro, oh, armor description, okay. There we go, I'm gonna have to put this down again so I can see the whole thing. So you got leathers, which is favored by nomads and other punks who ride bikes. It only has 4 stopping power, but it's cheap enough. It's 20 Euro-bucks every day. Kevlar, trademark, can be made into clothes, vests, jackets, business suits, and even bikinis. Stopping power 7, armor penalty none, 50 Euro-bucks, so it's a little more expensive. I think a Kevlar bikini would probably not help much if you get shot in the stomach. Although, we did have, I think I had a DM who said the chainmail bikini has, if you have a magical chainmail bikini, which this setting doesn't have magic, it, like, attracts the blows to the location where the armor is a little bit. Light armor jack. Combination of Kevlar and plastic meshes inserted into the weave of the fabric. 11 stopping power. So that's, like, the minimum. Anything less, they're weapon types that ignore it. No penalty for it. Light armor jack, 100 Euro-bucks a pop, so I think premium is the thing. Bodyweight suit. A skin suit with impact absorbing armor gel layered in key body areas. Also has a place to store your Cyberdank and sports interface plugs. 350, so it kind of has Interesting. It is a full 11 with no armor penalty. Um, it is freaking expensive. 1,000 bucks. That's a lot. Medium armor jack. Heavier armor jack with solid plastic plating, reinforced with Kevlar mesh. 12. And you only get one more stopping power, and you get -2 for dex, reflex, and move. Same price as light, just a little more. Heavy armor jack. Kevlar and layered mix of plastic and mesh weaves. 13. And it's a -2 as well. So it's 50 bucks. Wait, oh, 500. Expensive. Okay, that makes sense. So it's more expensive than the medium stuff, but it does the same. It does more protection and the same movement penalty. Then you got flak. This is the 21st century version of the time-honored flak vest and pants. It does 15. There you go. But it's -4, so you get twice as much penalty for it. And if you have low move, you might not actually be able to move at all in it. It's 500, so expensive, about the same as heavy, but gives you more armor, less movement. Metal Gear. Metal Gear will stop almost anything, but you're going to be easier to hit than a one-legged Barthan a pole race. 18. Dang. -4. Okay. So it doesn't give you anything. It's the same as flak. I mean, the movement penalty is the same as flak, but dang, you got good ones. A bulletproof shield, which is you just carry, means you can't wield anything two-handed. It's 10 HP, which is reduced by damage. So basically, you can take 10 HP worth of bullets that doesn't hit you at all, and then it breaks and you're screwed. No armor penalty, but always takes up one arm. So yeah, one-handed weapon. 100. That's premium. About the same cost as light armor jack. Don't be an idiot. Match your armor to your situation. If you're pulling a bodyguard job at a charity ball for an exact, you'll just embarrass yourself and your employer if you show up in full riot gear. Sure, I've got a set of flak that makes me look like I'm going to war, but I've also picked up a Duraweave fiber business suit from Takanaka. Yeah, Takanaka. Pre-war tech. Makes me look like I belong in a corporate HQ but can stop a pistol dead. Oh, yeah. Fitted for the future. How to get your stuff. Okay. So this is for character creation, basic for what each character starts with. The 10 classes, you get weapons, you get ammunition that fits your weapon, so you get heavy melee weapon or flashbangs. Then you get 2 tear gas grenades as a rocker boy. Interesting. Light armor jack, both body and head. Solo weapons, light armor jack for net runners. Light armor jack. Light armor jack is kind of the standard. We get a shield as a med tech, which is helpful. Light armor jack is like the best you're gonna get with no movement penalty. Bodyweight suit is just has the jack-in features and stuff that let you access your ports and things. If you have cyberware that had like cybernetics connector points, you have to have bodyweight suit as opposed to light armor jack because that allows you that access, but it's the same amount of armor, same amount of movement penalty. It's way more expensive, mind you, but let's see. Light armor jack is pretty much what everyone gets when you have your weapons and armor. Light armor jack, light armor jack, light armor jack. For all of them, yeah, all of them get light armor jack, even the net runner. Who would, I feel like, would want a body, well, I guess that's too expensive, yeah. Bodyweight suit is mad expensive, that's probably why you don't get it as starting gear. Okay. And then Jay, there's the example they use that, okay, look at this guy Jay, this is what he gets based on, you know, using these methods. Edge Runner and Street Rats, it is a kind of, like a fast and dirty. You get a lot of pre-generated stuff, you get your stats. In complete package, you get, all of it. Outfit. Cyberpunk future is mobile. Like the cowboys of the Old West, most people in the time carry their lives on their backs. A world of miniaturized sleeping, eating, and entertainment components crammed into carryalls on the back seats of cars. The gear you carry around is known as your outfit. Let's see, an inflatable bed and a sleeping bag. 6x6 package for easy storage. So, like a rolled up sleeping bag you would put. Personal agent, micro-sized communication system, computer that fits in your pocket. Something like this. Just probably better tech. Pocket of memory chips. Cyberdeck and cables for netrunners. Tech tool or other tools, like a Swiss Army knife, probably. Easily portable food in the form of bars, squeeze tubes, foil packets, and ready-to-eat meals, MREs. And the occasional banana, worth its weight in gold in the time of the red. Personal effects like clothes, toothbrushes, and stuff. Most of this is crammed into a shoulder bag or duffel sack. In the time of the red, Cyberpunk Red characters start much for settling down. Rocket Boys always have the next gig. Solos have to keep moving. The next job requires it, and you keep moving anyway before your enemies figure out where you're sleeping these days. Cops, netrunners, medias, and techies are always on the move. On stakeouts, hard stories, or running from the various people you've brought down on yourself with your net running. Nomads, well, they don't have homes to start with, unless you count their combis, which are cars of sorts. And what good is it if you can't cram it in the back of your bike anyway? At this point, we're not going to worry about all the other stuff in your life, your home, your rent, how much you make to scratch to pay for a bag of cable. Product number 19, that involves lifestyle and housing, which you learn about on 105. In the meantime, here's a quick rundown of things you should probably have on you or around you as you travel through. Okay, so you got the item, description and data, cost. You got an agent, which is your self-adaptive AI-powered smartphone, +2 to library search, +2 to wardrobe and style under some circumstances. Okay, and you got Air Hypo, drug distribution platform. Okay, so it looks syringe, kind of. Anti-smog breathing mask, useful for filtering out airborne toxins. Audio recorder. 24 hours of on a single memory chip. That's pretty good. Auto level dampening ear protectors. Compact ear protectors makes immune to effects caused by dangerously loud sounds. Ooh, they're expensive though. You might not be able to get them. Binoculars. Far away. I'm pretty cheap. Costly instead of everyday. Bug detector. Carry-all. A bag for carrying stuff is only 20. That's an everyday item, yeah. Chemical analyzer. Okay, that's expensive, but you might be able to get one. Computer, laptop, or desktop. It's only 50, so not bad. Cyberdeck is expensive for jacking into stuff. 7 slots. Disposable cell phone, which you can do calls only. Probably just calls and text, but you can throw it. It's a burner phone. Let's see. Drug synthesizer. Well, that's expensive. Needs, what does it need? You got drug synthesizer. Needs amp. So you have to plug it in. Duct tape. Ooh. Glow in the dark duct tape. Guitar, electric guitar, so you have an instrument. Good for making music. Electric versions need amps, so you need current. Yeah, but I guess an agent has to be charged. But you need to plug it in, essentially. Flashlight, yeah, you need to plug it in to use it, as opposed to being able to be charged. Flashlights, food sticks, one awful meal in bar form. Replacement bars, those are them. Oh, they're cheap, though. 10 euro bucks, not bad at all. Glow in the dark, spray paint. 20. And then, so they got a bunch of stuff. MREs, personal care pack, which is basically like probably like a DOP kit with like a toothbrush and a moist towelette and stuff like that. Pocket amplifier. Up to 2 instruments, lasts 6 hours per charge. Yeah, so you could get it like that. Radar detector. Dang, okay. Radiation suit, but that's way expensive. All right. Earpiece, a mile range earpiece. Okay, hang on. We're gonna snooze the ad, cause this is all very cool, and I hope you're enjoying it too. But also, I have a day job I have to get to, and so I can't stay and stream with you, unfortunately. Okay, So here's the plan. I'm going to um thank you all for coming and hanging out with me. Tomorrow is Greyhawk Day. I definitely will be at that stream. Thursday, it's going to depend on a number of factors. I usually stream on Thursdays, except when, last Thursday I had a really nasty headache, so I didn't. Depends on the day. But yeah, tomorrow is going to be Greyhawk Day. If you want to come, same bat time. Hypothetically, it's 1:30, probably closer to 2. And we're adding Greyhawk Wiki. And fun stuff. But yeah, appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Big one is take care of yourselves, please. I don't want, take care of yourselves, everyone. It's rough out there. Hopefully you've had fun kind of hanging out and vegging out with me. What else? Take care of yourselves. Thank you for coming. Let's see. If you want to join my Discord, come hang out with me between streams. I post memes and fun stuff, and I used to do writing challenges, but no one seems to be interested. So, but all of the responses are archived, and you can absolutely still respond to the prompts. Let's see. In sport, I do. I don't want to shell too much, but funds are low, and my poor computer could use some maintenance, and all that jazz. Day jobs are where it's at. I'm not doing too badly, but if you had a few extra bucks and you wanted to support me, I'm not going to say no. I don't actually get too much of a kickback from the jewelry anymore, but I think the code still gives you 20% off, so might as well take it, Okay, we're going on a raid, if you want. Let us go raiding. Who are we raiding to, you might ask? Well, let's see what we got. Sable's usually on around this time. Starborn Striker, another got. Misadventurers League. Oh, with Bard. Okay, yeah, we're going to raid into Misadventurers League because Bard is playing, who is a good friend of Got and generally really cool. So we're raiding into the Misadventurers League, just to say hi. Go on, come along and say hi at least. And if you want to stay, yeah, let's go raid into these guys. They don't have a lot of viewers. We're going right in here. We're gonna go come say hi with Bard and everyone. Off we trot. Come along. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. I said all that before. But yeah, come with me. And I will see you at some other later stream, hopefully. Alright, off we go. Ready? Boom, 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 boom. And...